The phone buzzed in my hand like a live wire, the screen lighting up with "Dad" in bold white letters against the dark. I was in the kitchen of my $980,000 home, a sprawling Victorian in the hills of San Francisco, with its creaky oak floors and bay windows that framed the fog rolling in like a shroud. I just poured myself a glass of Pinot, the deep red liquid swirling as I answered, expecting his usual gruff check-in. But there was no hello, no how's my girl. Just static. Then his voice, muffled but unmistakable, laced with a venom I'd never heard before. "She's a goddamn burden, Frank. Always has been. Thinks she's so independent with that fancy house. But who do you think kept her afloat all these years? Me. And now she's hoarding everything like a dragon on its gold. I can't wait to be free of her." My heart slammed against my ribs, a punch that stole my breath. I froze, the wine glass halfway to my lips, the tart scent of grapes turning sour in my nose. Dad's words echoed through the speaker, raw and unfiltered. He must have pocket-dialed me after our earlier call about the roof repairs. Frank, his old drinking buddy from the docks, mumbled something in response, but Dad barreled on. "Emily's got no idea what's coming. Once the lawyer files those papers, that house is mine. Mom's will. Bullshit. I built this family, not her. She's just a leech, sucking the life out of me. Burden. Yeah, that's the word." The glass slipped from my fingers, shattering on the tile in a spray of crimson shards that looked like blood. I didn't move. Didn't hang up. I just stood there, the cold seeping through my bare feet, listening as he laughed, a bitter wheezing sound that twisted my gut. Humiliation burned in my chest, hot and acrid like bile rising. Me. A burden. I'd been the one sending checks every month since Mom died 5 years ago, covering his medical bills, his groceries, even the damn cable so he could watch his reruns. I'd bought this house with my own sweat, climbing the real estate ladder tooth and nail, flipping properties until I could afford this haven. And he'd been plotting behind my back to take it from me. I sank to the floor, knees hitting the sharp edges of glass, but the pain was distant, drowned out by the roar in my head. Heartbreak clawed at me first, a deep, aching void where love used to be. Dad had been my rock once, the man who'd taught me to ride a bike on the cracked sidewalks of our old neighborhood, who'd beamed at my college graduation. But resentment followed, slithering in like smoke. Resentment for the years I'd sacrificed, the boyfriends I'd pushed away to be there for him, the nights I'd lain awake worrying about his failing health. Now, obsession flickered to life, a dark flame. What papers? What lawyer? How long had this been brewing? I stayed quiet on the line until he finally noticed the open call and muttered a curse, hanging up. The silence in the kitchen was deafening, broken only by the drip of wine soaking into the grout. I didn't call back. Didn't confront him. Instead, I poured another glass with trembling hands, the liquid staining my fingers red. Denial whispered in my ear. Maybe I'd misheard, maybe Frank had pushed him into it. But no, the words were etched in my mind, replaying like a nightmare loop. Fantasies surged, storming over to his apartment, screaming until my throat bled, or worse, cutting him off cold, watching him beg. But doubt crept in. What if I was overreacting? He was old, bitter from losing Mom. Moral conflict gnawed at me. Was I the monster for even thinking of revenge? That night sleep evaded me. The house felt oppressive, its high ceilings mocking my isolation. I paced the hallways, the wood groaning underfoot, shadows stretching like accusing fingers. By dawn, cold resolve had settled in my bones. I wouldn't lash out. Not yet. Revenge needed planning, precision, like staging a property to sell for top dollar. I'd uncover his secrets first, then strike where it hurt. The next morning I called my real estate attorney, Marissa, under the guise of routine estate planning. Her office smelled of fresh coffee and leather-bound books, the hum of the city filtering through the windows. "Emily, you look like hell," she said, eyeing my disheveled hair and the dark circles under my eyes. "Just stressed," I lied, forcing a smile that felt like cracking plaster. "Dad mentioned something about Mom's will. Any red flags I should know?" Marissa leaned back, her pen tapping the desk in a rhythmic click that grated my nerves. Your mom's will was ironclad. Everything to you, the house, the savings. But if he's contesting it. She trailed off, her brow furrowing. Has he said anything? Not directly, I replied, my voice steady despite the storm inside. Guilt pricked me, using Marissa like this, probing without revealing. But obsession drove me. I needed proof. She pulled up files on her computer, the screen's glow casting blue hues on her face. No filings yet, but I'll keep an eye out. Families get messy. Be careful. Messy. The word lingered as I left, the fog outside mirroring the haze in my mind. Back home, I rifled through old boxes in the attic, dust motes dancing in the slanted light like ghosts. Mom's letters, yellowed and fragile, revealed hints. Dad's gambling debts from years ago, hidden from me. Heartbreak deepened. Had Mom protected me from this? Resentment boiled. He'd pissed away our stability, and now he wanted my hard-earned sanctuary. Days blurred into a slow burn. I maintained the facade, calling Dad with feigned cheer. How's the knee, Pops? I'd ask, my grip on the phone white-knuckled. Aches like hell, but what else is new? He'd grumble. His voice carrying that undercurrent of bitterness I now recognized. You coming by this weekend? Roof's leaking again. Sure, I'd say, swallowing rage that tasted like ash. Inside, fantasies evolved. Selling the house out from under him, watching his face crumple. But fear held me back. What if revenge made me as hollow as him? Moral conflict raged. He was family blood. Yet the betrayal festered, a wound that wouldn't heal. Subtle hints emerged. A letter from a lawyer arrived at his address. I'd forwarded my mail there once, a mistake. I accidentally opened it during a visit, the paper crisp under my fingers. It outlined a challenge to Mom's will, claiming undue influence. My hands shook as I read, the words blurring through tears of fury. He was in the next room, humming off-key to the radio, oblivious. You're quiet today, he said later, over lukewarm coffee at his cluttered kitchen table. The air smelled of stale cigarettes and regret. Just thinking about Mom, I replied, my eyes locking on his. Did he flinch? Or was it my imagination? Yeah, she spoiled you rotten, he muttered, stirring sugar with a clink that echoed too loudly. Suppressed rage simmered in me, but I smiled, letting the tension build like a storm gathering offshore. That night, alone in my bed, sheets tangled around me like restraints I plotted. Selling the house wasn't just escape, it was weapon. The market was hot. I could liquidate fast, invest elsewhere, leave him with scraps. But guilt whispered, he's your dad. Obsession countered, he's a thief in father's clothing. Doubt plagued me. What if confrontation fixed it? Well, he'd deny, manipulate. Cold resolve won. I'd stay quiet, let him think he had time. Weeks passed in calculated quiet. I listed the house discreetly. The agent's sign hidden in the garage. Viewings happened while Dad thought I was at work. The scent of fresh-baked cookies masked my deception as buyers wandered through, their footsteps echoing my hollow heart. Humiliation from his words fueled me, but heartbreak lingered. Selling meant erasing Mom's memories, the garden she'd planted, now overgrown. One evening, as rain lashed the windows like accusations, Dad called. I need to talk. About the house. My pulse raced, suspense coiling tight. What's up? Not over the phone. Come over tomorrow. I hung up, the lines beep a death knell. Fear gripped me, did he know? Planning intensified. Calls to brokers, accounts shifted offshore. Inner conflict peaked. Was I becoming the burden he accused me of? Well, this was justice. The next day, his apartment reeked of cheap bourbon. He sat in his worn armchair, face lined with what I now saw as cunning, not age. I've been thinking, he started, his eyes avoiding mine. You should sell that place. Too big for one person. We could split the proceeds, family, right? Manipulation dripped from his words. Tension heightened. I nodded, hiding the storm. Maybe. Inside, resentment crystallized into obsession. He'd revealed his hand. My revenge was set. The rain hadn't let up by morning, turning the streets into slick mirrors that reflected my distorted face as I drove to Dad's. I'd barely slept, my mind a whirlwind of scenarios. Confrontation, denial, perhaps even apology. But cold resolve armored me now, a shield forged from weeks of silent fury. The house sale was in motion. Escrow opened yesterday, the buyer a tech mogul eager for the views. $980,000 wired soon, untouchable by him. Guilt still nipped at my heels, but obsession drowned it. This was payback for the betrayal that had shattered my world. I parked outside his building, the engine ticking down like a countdown. The lobby smelled of mildew and forgotten lives, the elevator groaning as it ascended. Knocking on his door, I braced for the act. Feigned ignorance, suppressed rage. He opened it, looking smaller than I remembered. His shirt rumpled, eyes bloodshot. Come in. Coffee's on. The kitchen was dim, lit by a single bulb that buzzed like an angry bee. We sat across from each other, steam rising from mugs like unspoken accusations. Tension thickened the air, palpable as the humidity outside. So, about the house, he began, his voice gravelly. I've got papers here. Lawyer says we can contest the will. Mom wasn't in her right mind, chemo fog, you know? It should be half mine. He slid an envelope across the table, its edges sharp. My fingers itched to tear it, but I opened it slowly, scanning the legalese that blurred through rising anger. Heartbreak resurfaced. Mom's final wishes, twisted by his greed. Why now, Dad? He leaned forward, his breath sour. You've had it easy, kid. I slaved at the shipyard for decades. That house. My sweat built the down payment Mom used. You're a burden, always taking. The word hit like a slap, echoing his accidental confession. Humiliation surged, hot tears pricking my eyes. But I stayed quiet, letting him dig deeper. And now it's time I get what's mine. Sign here, we'll split it fair. Manipulation at its finest. Doubt flickered. Was there truth in his claim? No. Mom had confided in me about his debts, how she'd hidden assets. Moral conflict raged. Forgiving would make me weak, but revenge? Was it poison? I need time, I said, voice steady despite the tremor inside. His face hardened, a flash of something dark, resentment. Don't drag this out, Em. Family sticks together. I left with the papers, the rain soaking me as I walked to my car. Inside, obsession took the wheel. He'd pay. Not with screams, but silence. The sale closed in days. I'd vanish the funds, leave him begging. That afternoon I met the buyer at the house. The air was crisp post-rain, the garden's roses dripping like blood. It's perfect, he said, his handshake firm. As we toured, memories assaulted me. Mom's laughter in the kitchen, Dad's stories by the fire. Selling felt like amputation, but necessary. Fear whispered, what if he sues after? Planning countered. Offshore accounts, ironclad. Dad called that night. Thought about it. Not yet, I lied, pacing the empty rooms, echoes amplifying my isolation. Come over. We'll talk. Suspense built like a noose tightening. I went, the drive a blur of headlights in the dusk. His door was ajar, odd. Pushing in, the apartment was dark, save for a lamp's glow. Dad! He was in the armchair, head slumped. Panic spiked, heart attack. But no, a bottle lay empty beside him. Drunk. Relief mixed with disgust. Wake up, I said, shaking him. His eyes fluttered open, bleary. You sign. Rage boiled over, but I held it. Tell me the truth. Why call me a burden? He froze, color draining. What? I heard you. On the phone. With Frank. Denial flashed, then crumbled. It was talk, I'm old, frustrated. Lost your mom, debts piling. Debts you hid. Accusations spilled, tension peaking. You plotted to steal from me. He stood unsteady. You owe me. Raised you, fed you. Burden. Yeah. 'Cause you remind me of her. Gone, leaving me nothing. Heartbreak shattered me anew. But resolve hardened. Goodbye, Dad. I walked out, his pleas echoing. Wait. We can fix this. Outside, rain pelted like judgment. Back home, I packed essentials, the house's sale finalizing tomorrow. Guilt clawed, abandoning him. But betrayal justified it. The closing was clinical. Signatures on cold paper, the wire transfer pinging my phone. $980,000 gone, funneled to a trust he'd never touch. I donated half anonymously to debt relief charities. Poetic, I thought, a twist on his burdens. He showed up that evening, pounding on the door as movers loaded boxes. Open up. I did, face impassive. It's sold. His jaw dropped, fury twisting his features. You bitch. That's my house. No, I said calmly, cold resolve shining. Mom's gift to me. You're free now, no burden. He lunged, but security I'd hired restrained him. As they dragged him away, screaming, obsession faded to emptiness. Revenge tasted bitter. Months later, in a modest apartment across the country, I rebuilt. News came via Frank. Dad in a shelter, broke, regretting. Guilt resurfaced, but a letter arrived. His handwriting shaky. I'm sorry. You were never the burden. I was. Tears fell, moral conflict unresolved. I burned it, the flames a final twist. Forgiveness? Too late. But in the ashes, unexpected peace. Revenge hadn't healed, but it had freed me. Yet doubt lingered, had I become him? The question haunted, a shocking echo in the quiet.